Welcome to Two Balls, One Puck, a brand new podcast where we will talk about the Buffalo Bills, Sabres, and Yankees. I'm here with my brothers, Joey and Jacob Gerace, and we're really excited to get this started. And let's do some introductions. Joey.
How are we doing? Yeah, super excited. And we talk about sports nonstop with each other, so might as well throw ourselves on video and talk about it on a different platform. So I'm excited to talk about three of our main aspects of life, these three sports teams. Jake, how you doing tonight, buddy?
That's it's funny you said that. We all the time we talk about have your hobby be your job. And none of us are podcasters yet, but as of now, we are officially podcasters. Not as a title, but we are officially podcasters. But if we had every conversation that we've ever had about these three sports teams recorded, I think we would have a pretty big catalog of content. And now we're doing that. And
yeah, we talk about sports way too much. And we talk about the Yankees on a daily basis. Hourly basis. So,
yep.
And we figure that love extends to the Bills and the Sabres, and we're here actually recording tonight on site at Media One Radio Group in Jamestown, and yeah, we're gonna let everybody know who we are, how this got started, what we're gonna do in the future going forward. So, the inception of this podcast actually started with a conversation between me and Jacob.
Yeah, I like to take credit. I tell everyone that about the podcast. It's just been my cat so far, but I do take credit when I talk to Lily about this podcast. I say, Tommy and I were talking about sports, and Media One was putting on a new podcast network.
Correct.
So we're like, you know what? We're talking about sports. They're looking for podcasts. And we live in a unique area where we are in Western New York. We are just south of Buffalo, but we're pretty far from New York City. We're actually closer to 3 or 4 MLB teams as far as baseball goes, closer than the Yankees.
To the Yankees, right.
We're very close to the Bills and Sabres. We're just 70 miles south of Buffalo, so they're our local team. But we were talking about our location and how that can kind of be an advantage, that all the people between Buffalo and New York City have this, that they're going to be Bills and Sabres fans. That's the local team. And the Yankees have a national, international power that they have. They have this influence. Everyone knows the logo. So
most famous hat of all time.
Not even arguable. That's just true.
Boom.
So we're like, let's capitalize on that location, Western New York, Buffalo, Dunkirk area, all the way east to New York City until you get to like Rangers, Islanders, Giants, Jets, you know.
But there's no better fan base than Bills Mafia and the Sabres, even though they've been struggling mightily.
On the way up.
They're on the way up.
But they're on the way up, and I can't wait to talk about that on the show. And
we'll get into that. The Sabres are dangerously close to being the most exciting of these three teams. The Bills, obviously, they're powerhouse, but having lost year after year, Sabres are starting to win more. I don't know.
Do you guys know the last time the Sabres made the playoffs?
I was 10.
I couldn't drive yet.
Joey, what were you doing?
In between being 10 and not being able to
I'm 27.
Yeah.
I'm 27. I couldn't drive yet the last time the Sabres were in the playoffs. So
that's crazy. We have been, I think Sabres fans have to be some of the most dedicated fans.
Yeah.
We've been through some hard times, so it's really exciting. I know that we are all very excited to see a team that truly has promise, and I know we'll dive into, what we're looking forward to about the Sabres, what they did to impress us already these last couple of years, and just, talk about the coach, maybe a little story about the coach, and
about the
hoping that hoping he's the right guy behind the bench to take him up there to the playoff. We haven't seen it.
So I want to talk about something really quick. I want to talk about our backgrounds a little bit in sports and with these teams in general, I suppose. But like our family is our hockey family that loves hockey. That's accurate. I always tell people that hockey is like religion in our family, and it's kind of true.
And then what's religion in our family?
Hockey.
Yeah. That too.
There's a 2 for 2 right there.
So, anyway, we all there's 3 of us in here, but we also have 4 other siblings that are not currently in the room that have all played hockey, and most of us continue to play hockey. And we all played sports growing up and everything. Some of us played baseball. Everybody except for me played tennis, and we had soccer, we had basketball, we had the whole 9 yards. But
gonna intercut right there.
Go.
Recent baseball coach, MVP of the
That's true.
modified. I don't remember our league name. League. That's me.
Who votes on this?
That was me.
You voted for yourself.
I had the most wins.
Wait, is this the team MVP and you gave it to yourself?
No. League
Finally
MVP.
gets the power to decide who's the MVP, gives it to himself.
I said I
That's
won
a
the
power
most
move.
games.
Buddy,
First year coach
was an all-star
in
for 1 year. Senior year, high school hockey, second team all-star.
jumped back to hockey.
Go ahead, continue on your baseball team.
No, that was the
where
whole
you were
thing.
the MVP.
We
just
do have a lot of
baseball-
sports history, and honestly, I think in some capacity, sports can consume about 80% of our collective lives to this day. So I think that this podcast will really show that we are a sports family. Hockey definitely the most prominent. Played college and had siblings. Several of us, 3 of us, continued to play in college, and some of us now are just terrorizing the men's league here, and some of us are also competing in the men's league here, and we are just a big sports family through and through. So
You might be wondering, what about football? Because we just talked about baseball and hockey. Well, we were all homeschooled, believe it or not. In our area, it's not too uncommon. But because New York is one of the 2 states that does not allow homeschooled kids, high school age, to play in school sports, which is
crazy.
travesty.
Just crazy.
None of us grew up playing football. It was just not an option. We knew that if we started like midget or rec league or whatever football, we would have to stop by the time we were in middle school. So football is the only sport that we don't have any experience in playing or coaching. But as far as watching, I would say we have 3 gold stars.
Yeah, if you mean watching the Bills consistently break my heart, but now we're on the up and up with the Bills. So let's talk a little about.
We've been up. We need the second up.
We need another up.
We
need 2 ups.
need another up. So really quick, just like everybody, you'll all get to know us as we go on and on. Again, this is episode 0, and this was specifically meant to introduce ourselves to you and what the show is going to be about. So let's talk about that right now. What is this show going to entail? Well, obviously, everybody knows now that we're going to be talking about the Sabres, the Bills, the Yanks. And that's where the 2 balls, 1 puck name comes from. 2 sports balls and a puck.
Did
One-
we say
one
that right
sport
on the
puck.
top?
What's that?
Did we say welcome to 2 balls, 1 puck?
I think I said that
Okay.
right at the top. I
Because
think I
that's
said
something
that.
that we should probably have said. Is this is the name of the show, and that's why
Yeah.
two sports with a ball, 1 sport with a.
pretty
2
sure I
ball
said that.
sports, 1 puck sport.
I think
pretty
we've
sure I said that.
explained. Yeah.
So anyway, basically what we're going to do from week-to-week basis is provide our insight, our hot takes, our knowledge, our thoughts on the happenings of all 3 of these teams. Obviously, there's points of the season where all 3 of these teams are going to be in a lull, and I mean that in terms of the league, not the individual team.
Their schedule.
Right now, Bills news, Sabres news is very light. Obviously, the New York Yankees are hot in the middle of their season right now. They're not hot right now because they dropped 2 games to the Chicago White Sox. They're currently winning right now, though. But we're just going to talk about these teams, and when things happen, we're going to give our insight on it from a local perspective. That was kind of the whole thing about this was there's a bunch of people that talk about these teams already, but what about 3 brothers that are fans talking about this in Western New York, and where these, like Jacob said, these franchises kind of converge in this unique space that we're in. So some episodes we'll talk about some teams more than others, depending on what's going on. Like, for example, our first episode, when that does launch, we'll probably talk a little bit more about the Yankees than we will about what the Bills and the Sabres are doing right now because, well, there's not a lot, except for the biggest Bills news maybe of all time, Josh Allen on the cover of Madden 24. How awesome
Very
is
cool.
that? The first Buffalo Bill ever to be on the cover of Madden. That's sick.
So what's your opinion with the curse?
Patrick Mahomes broke it last year,
Okay,
so we're good.
fair enough.
We're good.
I think I know that he got interviewed about that, and honestly, just as someone who played sports, he said, he loves everything about the game, has always dreamed to be an NFL player, but he said this is the one thing that I've been dreaming of since I was a kid that I didn't know if ever would come true. I mean, so the thought of being a professional athlete, especially the NFL quarterback, very slim. And to be on the cover of Madden is just I can't even imagine. He's had so many successes in his life already, but he was just so elated, and it's so cool for Buffalo too. How cool would it be to be one of those fans that's in that picture too? Just on the cover.
Honestly,
I thought about that.
That's the coolest part about the cover.
100%.
No other cover has ever included fans
They're
before.
blurred out or something. Yeah.
So it's really sick that there's fans in there, and because Bill's Mafia is Bill's Mafia, and
Did you see the guy chugging a beer?
Is it really?
No, I have no idea.
Did you see?
Hilarious.
Oh no! Here's for everybody.
Really
this is an actual
It's
something.
an E-rated game, so
Is
Could
it
be
E
like
or is
a
it
cream
E
soda.
plus
Oh,
10?
that
Because
could
there's a
be-
little bit
There's
of
some
violence.
violence. Yeah.
Anyway, this is an actual thing. One of those things where you can't unsee it once you see it thing. The arrow and the FedEx logo, blah blah blah. Go and look at the cover again. There's one pipe of Josh Allen's mask that's missing because they edited out photoshopped to see his face, and or for the logo maybe or something like that, and it's missing. I don't know if anybody would pick that up, but you got to go look at it. It's kind of funny, and
That's really
maybe
cool.
they'll fix it before the game comes up or whatever.
All right,
Anyway,
I have a question for you too.
wait.
Okay, I'll wait.
There's one more big thing. Josh Allen is on top of the world right now because not only is he on the cover of Madden 24, but is he dating Haley Steinfeld? Jacob, back to you.
Back to me. We will talk more about that. We have a tease for episode 1.
We actually have an entire show based off Josh Allen dating Haley Steinfeld.
No
don't we?
comment. Back to me. I would say
I thought
that
we had a whole episode planned about
our first
You can do it
episode.
solo.
Bomber.
I'm done.
Go.
Okay, I'm back. Our first episode. Oh wow, I'm looking at this cover again. I just pulled it up.
Did you see it?
It's really noticeable.
Is it bad?
It's not bad.
But once you see it, you can't
But
unsee it.
his mask looks like there's a big hole in
Once
it.
you
which
see
there
it,
is.
you can't unsee it. Also,
Anyways.
if you look at the 7-Eleven logo, one of the letters, they're all uppercase and one is lowercase.
I did know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're a big logo podcast.
Jacob is dying to get this out.
He's been trying so hard.
Okay, I have another hilarious thing to say after Jacob gets this out. Go.
I was gonna change the topic and go to something else, so I'm gonna let you get your thing out. Go ahead.
Okay, here's my thing. This is a prerequisite to everybody knowing kind of who we are and how we banter. Joey claims that if he played in the 1980s as himself right now, if you teleported Joey, the hockey player,
I said
to the
70s.
1980s,
I said
he
70s.
did say 70s.
I said late 60s, early 70s.
80s, not 80s.
You said 80s.
I did not.
you said 80s because you're talking about Gretzky.
Ooh,
Nope.
he said
Okay.
that.
I did not ever
Well,
say
Gretzky
on
did
the
play in
ice
the
with
70s
him.
too. All right.
Late
Joey
60s, early 70s.
Well, that changes the conversation completely.
No, that's the whole. That was my whole point.
You idiot. All right.
Get
well,
your point across.
All right. My point is, Joey says that in the 80s, as he said, I don't care if he's lying.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Fine. Mid 70s. Let's settle.
Early 70s.
All right. Fine. Early 70s. Joey claims that he would go in and be one of the best players in the NHL.
Skill wise, this is a very specific argument that I was making, and it came about when people were trying to compare McDavid and Gretzky. It is very, very obvious. If you take the average second, third line NHL player right now and put him back a couple of decades, their skill level is, you can't even compare it. How fast they skate.
I agree.
How tight they turn. Their shots. In the equipment has come such a long way. The training has come such a long way.
Medicine. Yeah.
All of it. Our athletes' bodies have evolved. If you look at the average NFL player when the NFL was created and look at the average one now, it's just changed a lot. I was just simply saying that if you took myself, who was a club hockey player, decent hockey player, in the realm of hockey and all of it, not nearly as good as thousands of players.
Give yourself a little credit. You played at ACHA D1, which is on the same team I played at. I'm being serious. I could pick on you. I'm being serious. You played with players in leagues that host excellent players. The league that you and I both played in for college has players from the USHL, the NAHL, leagues that do feed
Correct.
Very high level hockey.
To put into perspective, I would say, and I don't know the statistics to support this, but out of all of the hockey players, I was probably in the top 15 or 10%.
Of all hockey people
players
that play hockey.
Hockey players.
Okay.
If you take them, people in my, senior year of high school, per se, if you took all of the country, all of US's, high school senior hockey players, I was probably in the 10%. The 1 or 0.3% of that make a Division I team.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So comparatively, good hockey player compared to a lot, but not compared to those who are, doing it at the highest level. My point was me being a good, but not the best hockey player with, I could probably, my slap shot is probably in the mid 80s.
Oh, my slap shot.
Go back to...
Tommy, yours is like
I
7.
was 0 for 4 on breakaways in our pickup skate on Monday.
I think I gave him 3 of them, too.
I stopped going to pickup skate. They kicked me out. I was scoring too much.
If you looked at the average shot speed...
I know what you're saying.
In the 60s...
I know what you're saying.
In the 70s, even through the 70s,
Of course.
if you saw one that cracked 80, the cameras couldn't keep up with it.
Of course.
The goalies would literally try to kick the puck, and if they missed, it went in. Players scored from center ice.
Could you imagine Billy Smith? For anybody who doesn't know, Billy Smith was a goaltender back in the 70s, 80s era, and he was the biggest hothead of hotheads in goaltending history. Could you imagine if Ovechkin was just parked on the power play, ripping 1-Ts on the and he couldn't even get to him?
Let me get my point across.
He would
you called me out.
his blocker at him.
You called me out big time. I want to finish my point.
Yeah, but I have a rebuttal. Go.
If you took me right now and my current hockey talents, which have declined in the last couple years of only playing once a week with grown men.
Good enough to score 3 goals in the championship game in the Jamestown Adult Hockey League.
Purely talent alone, how fast I skate compared to the players in the 60s and the 70s, it is not even close. So it all stemmed from the McDavid versus Gretzky.
Of course.
You can't compare them.
No, you can't compare them.
And so I just simply said the reason this is in showing you how you can't compare them. If you put me on the ice with the players in the late 60s, early 70s, I would be the fastest skater, probably.
Guy Lafleur.
One of the fastest skaters. My shot with my composite hockey stick would be scoring on goalies from center ice.
Yeah.
That was my point.
I get the point.
That was my point.
I actually agree with you to a certain extent. Fourth liners of today's NHL, you could put them back in that era and they'll be absolutely gross.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Not a question. And this is for a different episode, the continued discussion about how you compare the greatest of all time to the best of all time.
Very different.
But you did say 80s, but we will agree to disagree because if we start talking about 80s, we're talking about a lot of other, you're just not Mario Lemieux. I'm sorry. But
okay. No. 80s is different. 70s is a little different too. Here's a question.
60s.
All right.
Okay.
Jacob's got
I got
something to
70s.
say.
I have several things to say. I'm
Go,
only going to
Jacob.
get to say one or half of them, knowing you two. I'm going to start with this because we're on topic. There's a 14-year-old, currently I will not name a name, who plays for the Jamestown, that's the city that we're in, high school baseball team. He throws around 84 miles an hour at 14 years old. He's incredible. I've played catch with him. You're playing catch with him, and it's like a wiffle ball. Things are moving. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
I know you're going to say I was probably going to interrupt. Is he a larger 14-year-old in stature?
No.
Really?
No. I mean, he's
because you see the 14-year-olds that are 6'1".
No,
so,
he's 5.
Is he the 14-year-old that
lanky.
would be in a movie that stars in a comedy
No,
scene?
no,
that
he looks like a 14-year-old.
Beats the crap out of it. Oh, okay.
My point is, how far back do you have to go in baseball to see 85 miles an hour?
as the average fastball.
Once you're going 20, 30, 40 years, same thing with this hockey conversation. You got a 14-year-old in Jamestown who might or may not make a D1 team in 4 years, throwing harder than every player in the league. They used to measure pitch speed by having a guy on a horse run at full speed. I don't know if either of you or anyone listening knows this. They got a guy on a horse at center ice, have him galloping. As he passes the pitcher then throws. And if the ball gets to however 60, I don't even think it was 60 feet 6 inches.
So they would calculate the distance from the horse.
Here's the funniest part: they don't know how fast the horse was running.
They were just guessing.
Saying, "Are you faster than the horse?"
Wait,
How far
What
back
happens?
was this?
What happens?
Far. I mean, we're talking 100 years.
At least.
Back in the day, in
Maybe,
my
yeah.
day, I used to throw baseballs with horses to find out how fast we were running. Now,
Running.
what happens, or throwing, what happened if the pitcher,
Hit the horse.
yeah, a bug flows in his eye,
I don't think he was like directly next to him.
a bug
I mean,
flies in his eye. It's late for everybody. We're recording this. It's late at night. I've been up for a while. But what happens if he just, like, somebody throws sand in his eye at the last second? Or no, because they're on a baseball diamond, right?
Dirt. Could be dirt.
Dirt, wind, pops dirt right up into his eye.
Then
horse
Oh,
or the
the
pitcher?
calamity! And
The horse to the pitcher's eye.
the pitcher's eye. And then the horse's eye, that'd be a completely different conversation. But what if he throws the ball, it smokes the horse, and then the horse runs off, and it, like, leaves the stadium? Then
Well,
what?
there's doors.
Well, we should probably talk a little bit more about the Sabres, Yanks, and Bills.
My point was.
Oh, please finish.
I have a question. I prepared a quiz for both of you. I
Oh,
was so
fun.
excited. But I want to ask this question first because I think
Okay.
this is a funny question.
All right.
We just talked about how we have high schoolers, genuinely have high schoolers now who could be not necessarily the pressure or the endurance, but skill alone. If you're in a skills room, you're just testing speed, strength, ability to play each of these sports, right? High schoolers today are at the professional level from 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, easily.
Yes, Joey.
So from the three of us, there's not four, three of us who have never played contact football, tackle football, how far back in time do you think you have to go as you are currently, 27-year-old Tommy, 24-year-old Joey,
Nailed it.
2 years older than me,
Yep.
to go back in time to be a competitive NFL? You have never played football before.
Oh,
I have never
boy.
played football before.
Are you talking about like me? Like, hey, I'm an athletic guy.
You're an athletic
I
guy.
should play
and
professional
the body
football.
that you, the
Currently have.
explosion that you currently have as a 23-year-old, you were trained as an athlete for 20 years,
Okay.
is more than the data that we have, the video that we have, more than the athletes had in the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
How far back do you have to go to be a competitive NFL player?
That's a great question.
So I mean, I never played football competitively. I can throw a football relatively far, and I'd like to think I can throw a football.
So you think you'd be a quarterback?
I'm just purely saying skill. I think I could potentially throw a football as far as some. I don't know. That's
So-
a really good question.
Tommy?
When you look at old school football clips, these guys were animals, though.
That's the thing.
They were
That's what I
animals.
was
They
trying to
were
get at.
That's what-
barbarians.
It
In
turns
football,
the
they were
conversation
just
in
They
half.
went
massive,
into
too.
the dungeons after the games and, like, ate turkey legs like Josh Allen did on Thanksgiving, but they did that routinely, and they, like, slayed a dragon afterwards
They did
together.
on field.
Like,
So and that's the conversation.
so
In
I'm
hockey,
saying, like, you know the stories of, like, baseball players and, like, athletes that, like, went and fought in World War II and they came
yeah,
back
it's
and, like,
amazing.
okay, well, that's probably the era that I'm looking at. I would need to face, I would
You
need
would
to
have
face
to
these
go through
guys
basic
So you
training.
think you're
pre-World War II.
Yes.
Because after these guys got back from World War II, they were probably vicious.
well? There's a thing called World War One that also happened.
Yeah, but was football being played in World War One?
Yeah,
No.
well, not in the war.
You don't know that. None of us.
You weren't there.
I was not there.
I also was not there.
Now, our grandfather actually served in World War II. Our grandfather is an amazing human being. He's 96 years old, and he was still playing pickleball. But to answer your question,
My namesake.
I
I'm
would.
his namesake.
I should have been. My middle name's Joseph, and shout out to my mother who didn't name me Joseph. That's a whole thing.
She knew.
I think and this is not like all jokes aside. I think I would probably have to go back to like
The beginning of football.
yes,
I also don't
The
think in
beginning.
my current state, maybe it would. It's crazy
I'm
how
not-
how much it changes when you stop playing a competitive
I was
sport.
more talking to Joe.
I'm not. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
I'm not built.
It's crazy.
I'm not built
Jacob,
for football.
I don't know if you can attest
like,
to
at
this.
all.
You are only a year and a half now out of playing college hockey.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So it is. Have you noticed the instant decline in your athletic ability that you've I think that I did.
I don't know if athletic ability because I can still have the coordination.
Stamina,
Yeah, all the
different
other
type
things.
of strength, even if
100%.
you're strength training. You know what I mean? So I think that in my current state right now, I would, if I got one hard hit, one tackle, I would be so sore. Like I might get injured. So I actually think that there's an era.
Judge.
Yeah, I know. I think that there's an era of professional sports, football and hockey included, that I would have done better in, just simply based on the physical nature of it. And that's a part of that question you asked too about playing in hockey in that era.
Yeah, you have to get hit and
you
grabbed.
have to get hit and
slashed
and high sticked and.
But your point was always
high
like,
stuff.
I can get away from those guys, but
To an extent.
but the one
To an
time you
extent.
do get
To an
caught,
extent.
like go back and watch Gretzky get absolutely just bundled at center ice. But Marty McSorley was going to eat you alive.
Okay. Can we talk?
Let's get into sports.
30-second.
Yeah, we're talking
30-second conversation about how ridiculous it was that you have 5 people on the ice and you are choosing to let one of them be bad at hockey to protect one of them who's good at hockey.
It was just the era.
That's
the
era.
all you can say.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
crazy.
And there was that little overlap where there still were players, probably like a 4 or 5 year window, where the true enforcers were noticeably worse at the game and made their team worse in all aspects of the game besides truly being enforcers.
Yeah, it was around.
It was a quick era that came in and out.
It
of
was
that.
around probably, I'd like to say, like the early 2010s.
Yes, John Scott.
The NHL, right? The
You
John
would say
Scott's.
that late? I was thinking like before the lockout.
No.
That late. John Scott was still playing
Sure.
on a roster. Now, to be fair,
But there weren't 30 John Scotts. There were 5, right?
Most teams had an enforcer. Most McGrattan, teams had enforcers.
now if we're going back to the like Donald Brashear era, the Marty McSorley, the Chris Simon, and these
Ty
might be
Domi.
names that people have no idea about, and that's
Yeah.
okay because this is a Bills, Yankees, and Sabres podcast, and we're talking about Brian McGrattan. But John Scott did play for the Sabres, so
he
there's
did,
that.
and he won an All-Star MVP.
But
That
anyway,
was such a sad
it
time.
is
It
that
was.
is an interesting topic, Jacob. One that we should probably focus on more later. So, as we have taken this episode 0, okay, and we're 27 minutes into this episode 0, and probably going to be looking to wrap things up because this was not supposed to be a very long episode. We just wanted you all to get to know us a little bit more because we think we're funny when we talk to each other. I think that other people might think we're funny, but really we just want people to think that we love the Bills, Sabres, and Yankees and talking about it, and that's what we genuinely do. So, rapid fire, couple things that we're going to be talking about coming up. The New York Yankees are in 3rd place in the AL East, and they are currently in the bottom of the 8th inning of a doubleheader with the Chicago White Sox. They have a lot of injuries. We're going to talk about the Yankees a lot.
We'll be talking
because
a lot about the Yanks for the next month.
now, and then as far as hockey goes, the Sabres are about to approach a busier time because the Stanley Cup Finals. Does anybody know what the score is right now? Game 3?
I've been so fixated on
somebody's
getting
gotta
this
check.
2-1. The Vegas Golden Knights are 5 minutes left in the second.
What is
Michael
happening?
got
This is a sad
destroyed.
Stanley
He's
Cup
fine.
final thus far.
Yeah, it really is. But as
No,
far
there's
as
just pitching in real quick. Just a quick plug. Maybe something that we will be talking about in a couple of days when we record episode 1. Talks of Rasmus Dahlin and Owen
Yes.
Power, as well as Casey Middlestat.
Yes.
All 3 of them with contracts that Kevin Adams has said are close.
All right.
So
One
that could be
word-
something that we discuss soon.
One word answers.
Yes,
hold
Tommy.
on, wait.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah, just real quick.
Sure,
I just
sure.
wanted to finish with the Sabres
was-
that the Sabres are approaching the 2 weeks of the NHL offseason that does it so much better than the NBA. And I don't follow the NBA, but I know that their offseason is dragged out. MLB too, a little bit. I mean, honestly, the NFL a little bit too, in regards. But the NHL gets their offseason done in like 2 weeks. The draft happens, the signing or the tender rights happen, and then free agency happens usually on July 1st. Is free agency on July 1st again this year? I think it is.
so.
I think it's back to that. And then not 60% of the major free agents sign on the first day. And then there's the ones that trickle. But the Sabres window of talking about what's going on with the Sabres is really going to heat up for a short while. And then Sabres news is going to completely die for
a couple months,
month and
truly.
a half until like
Yeah.
training camp,
Yep.
and then
Well, yeah, same thing with football. We're going to have a couple
little
of these
bit.
big things, and then we're
Some
going to
free
wait.
agencies.
We're going to wait for the
Some
first videos
girlfriends.
of people working out, the first videos of,
Yeah.
of throwing, of catching,
I mean,
of hitting. It's
like,
going to be fun.
right now the Bills are in the news because of, I mean, aside from Josh Allen stuff,
Couple
I mean,
signings.
Ed Alvers, 4-year
Yep.
extension is big.
Yep.
Bringing in Floyd is a big signing for the Bills on a 1-year deal. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then aside from that, though, I mean, that'll we'll be giving more insights on our projections and whatnot for
Definitely.
the season.
We've
as we
got
come
some
on
time.
Schedule
We have
watch.
some time.
But yeah, just to let
As a
people know where
Sabres
we're
fan,
going.
there's really only those 2 weeks you talked about, and then sporadically things are going to happen. But as a Sabres fan, if you're strictly Sabres, it's a little bit boring from here until at least the end of summer, early
And
fall.
before we let Jacob kick it off, and this is probably where we're going to end the show, is let Jacob rapid fire us or do a quiz or whatever he's going to do. We should also let people know that this podcast is if we make you a fan of another team or another sport, even a little bit that you weren't previously. If you're strictly a Buffalo guy and you couldn't care less about the Yankees or baseball, I mean, maybe we pique your interest a little bit. That'd be awesome, but we're perfectly content. When this is on, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're gonna try to have markers in the episode on where you can skip to hear about individual teams, because our actual episodes, people, are gonna be, we hope, a little bit more organized, talking about the
they
teams.
will be,
because like I said at the beginning, we're gonna talk about a little, depending on where we are in the season, we're gonna dedicate an amount of time to a certain team, so you'll be able to actually cut in and out and easily find where we're going to be talking about each team. So if you, again, couldn't care less about hockey and don't want to hear about the Sabres, but you love the Bills and you love the Yankees, you can listen to those aspects individually.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Brian?
Well, I do actually want a one-word answer from both of you, because
Okay.
this was I was going to
I
ask.
hate one-word answers, Jacob. You know how bad I am? You know how
do you
bad
know
I
how
am.
many
Well, this is a
words
yes or
are
no
in
question.
my brain?
Oh.
Okay.
Owen Powers.
Yes.
This is what I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
This is not the quiz I prepared.
Oh, okay.
Owen Powers. Too early or not for this extension, theoretically? Too early or not? Tommy?
No.
Joey?
No.
Joey says no. Tommy?
I can't do one-word answers because
I
there's so
can't
much
do
context.
one-word answers.
There's so much context here.
All right, one-word answer. We'll talk about it. Episode
What kind of
1. There's a
context?
We can
teaser.
talk about it. We'll
Fine,
talk
no.
about it in episode 1.
Not
No.
too early.
Not
No.
too early.
I'm only the slightest bit worried. Only the slightest bit.
That's not a one-word answer.
I didn't
Burn.
require that for myself.
Eat all the pant, Jacob.
All right, here's the quiz. I'm going to ask you each a question.
Is this a 3-minute or under quiz?
This is a 1-minute quiz.
Sweet.
What was the first year that the Buffalo Bills wore their all-red uniform?
The Color Rush one?
Yeah, the one that's red head to toe besides the helmet. I don't like it, but
Oh, wait. Red. Okay. Well, the helmet, they haven't worn the red helmet since the 90s.
no. It's the white helmet, red jersey.
The Color
Color
Rush
Rush,
jersey.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, the one that, okay. I'm going to say,
It's pretty. It's
no
hints.
No hints. No free ads. No hints. I'm going to say 2017.
Joey.
I initially was going to say 2018, but just to mix it up, I'm going to say 2015.
2015 is the correct answer.
All
All right. What year did the Bills switch from their navies, like their darker blues,
Yeah.
not necessarily navy,
Yes.
but totally cut out the dark blues?
2011.
That's a great guess. Because the first player that comes to my mind when I think of those jerseys is Willis McGahee. The Navy.
Yes.
The Navy.
You have
Pitter-patter.
I guess.
Fine. Jeopardy. 2012.
2000
Or Jeopardy, I mean Price is Right.
Come on.
2011.
Let's
is
go.
your correct
Holy,
answer.
Hit me with the next
for
one. Hit me with the next one.
two.
You're speeding along.
Hit me with the next one. I can
All right.
totally see your computer
Suck.
screen, too.
No, you can't.
No, I know, but that'd be really
That
funny.
would be horrible. All right, switching to the Sabres. Easy.
This is where I shine.
Let's go.
Tommy's a big Sabres
I
guy.
shine here.
All right, what years were the famous red Sabres jerseys with the intersecting sabers? What years were they active?
I got this one.
Okay.
1999 to 2006.
I'm going to throw mine out there. I'm going to say 97 to 07.
No way, 97.
No. It is
99 to 07.
It's 98 to 06, isn't it?
It is the 1999-2000 season. So I don't know.
99.
Yeah, but
That's-
2000.
Okay.
Nope, 99.
To 2006.
Boom.
Great.
Eat pant, Joe.
All
One
right.
more question. That's all we have time for.
All right.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
The Yankees
Like a-
jersey question is not necessarily as much fun because famously the Yankees only wear their two jerseys.
Gorgeous
Pinstripes and the
pinstripes.
So
Grays.
I will ask you about the Yankees jersey, something a little less commonly known, perhaps. What year did they go to away from their white jerseys? So you guys are familiar. They had like a cream white.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It was more in the Korean War, 20 years around the Korean War.
Okay, so what year did they go away from cream
Yeah,
and go
to pure white.
to pure white? So you're saying Babe Ruth didn't wear pure white pinstripes?
Well, what's your guess?
What year did they go away from cream and just to white pennies? I was talking World War II earlier. 45.
1944.
1951.
I win. Price
a
is
little
Right
later.
rules. I said
Awesome.
Jeopardy earlier.
You did.
Well, it has been fun. We're going to wrap this one up for tonight. Again, this is episode 0. So we just wanted to test the waters a little bit, get a feel for it. And, our other podcasts, like Tommy said, will be structured, definitely have a little bit more of a starting and end point. But we are really excited to talk about the 3 sports teams we love with all of you and hope you guys enjoy chatting along with us.
Yeah, and one other thing I'll say before I go is follow us on social media. When this comes out, we have social pages active. We haven't really been active with them yet, but we're going to start promoting that. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Find us on YouTube if you want to watch these. You can watch us on YouTube as well. But definitely spread the word about us. We love doing this, and we're going to do this no matter if we have anybody or nobody. But spread the word on us on social media. And thanks again to Media One Radio Group for letting us record in their studio.
If you are
Absolutely.
in our local Jamestown area, let other people know. Perhaps you know who we are and you want to see more of a local face. But otherwise, I think that is where we're going to end our first episode, or our 0 episode type.
That's
Awesome.
right.
Well, nice talking with you, brothers, and we'll see you guys
Love
back
you
on
guys.
episode 1.
All right,
Here we
thanks
go.
everybody.
Have a good night.